Hello everyone, welcome to this live stream. Today we are going to go through everything from complete beginning to all the way to the end. We're going to create and replicate this exact render in SketchUp and Enscape. I got this in Pinterest and I just like the overall mood and feel of it. So I thought it would be cool to recreate this in a live stream and do a full walkthrough with you guys. That way you can take a look on behind the scenes of the whole process that I take with rendering. So first things first, I want to see where you guys are watching from. Please let me know if you can hear me well, if the audio is fine, if you can see me well, and if everything is ready to go in the live stream. And also let me know where you're watching from. Tajwar said, how are you? I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking, my friend. What about you? Okay, so as I see this kitchen right here, we're gonna have directional lighting from this side. We're gonna have to set up the windows over there. The cabinets are fairly simple. We don't have to copy, or I mean to replicate everything on the ceiling as well. We're gonna try and find similar furniture and similar accessories as well. We have some aligned lighting over there, and yeah, I think probably is gonna be the part that's gonna take the longest about this is probably trying to find similar materials to the floor here and also to the like the waterfall of the marble. Anyway, so first off, let me start with just doing the floor real quick. I'm gonna extrude this over here and I'm gonna make this a group. So this is step one. Now for the second step, well, let me just kind of offset this. However, I think this is a bit too small. So first off, let me go ahead and see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cabinets on that side. So that's 60 by 6. That's like 360. So let's do 360 by 63, I guess. Let me check. 360 by 62. So that is on that side. So I'm just gonna rotate it real quick. I gave the wrong side of the actual dimensions. Excited to learn for you. Thank you for joining in. I appreciate it. Anyway, so now let me just move this a bit upwards. So one of these is gonna be like at 90. And then this part over here can be like 60. And then inside here, we can start doing the division of these. So what's gonna happen is I'm just gonna copy this on this side for 60. Let me do, for example, 1 centimeter. And then I'm gonna copy this over here and move it for 60. Well, 1 second. So I think I'm gonna need to replicate this and move it to 60 on this side. I'm gonna need to take this off. And now I'm just gonna select this surface and just copy it like this on this side. Good. And now what I'm gonna do is, let me just draw a line over here. And I'm gonna, well, what I'm gonna try and do is, let me just delete these lines. This surface, okay, good. So we're gonna delete these and well, then it's gonna be pretty easy to just extrude the whole thing all the way up to the actual ceiling. Let me just also copy this up here. I'm gonna move this upwards for, let's say 280 centimeters. And yeah, let's just continue this real quick. Let me already open up the top. I'm gonna go to tools. I'm gonna go to section plane. I'm gonna turn on this section. I'm gonna move it a bit downwards just so we cannot see the ceiling right now. That way our modeling gets done a lot easier. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please let me know. And also, I love to hear where you guys are watching from. As always, I love to know more about the demographics of the channel. Anyway, so this, now I might need to turn off the cut. Let me just turn this off as well. Okay, so now we have an idea of the top cabinetry. We already did that part. Now we're gonna have to do this part as well. Well, I think what we're gonna need to do with these is I'm probably gonna need to push pull these inside a bit. So maybe let's see, 20 centimeters. I think that's gonna work fine. And then I'm gonna group these and send these back over here. All the way from Pakistan. Nice to have you here. I noticed that we have quite some viewers in the channel from Pakistan. Anyway, let me go and draw a rectangle here. I'm gonna do this back wall real quick. I'm gonna close this off just like this. And then we have a part of the wall that's coming in right here. We have a window that's gonna be open. So I'm gonna draw that real quick as well. So if I go from this side up to here, this will probably come in about, from what I see, like 90 centimeters. I'm gonna delete this completely. Okay, and then let me find some windows. Let me first save the file because it happens to me quite often during the live stream for SketchUp to crash and then I lose the whole progress. I'm gonna type in kitchen live stream 3. Anyway, okay, so next up, let me go and find already update SketchUp to use the warehouse. So wait, we cannot use the warehouse right here. Well, let me just open it with another version of SketchUp that I have. 1 second. Let me see if the SketchUp warehouse works for this version. In the meantime, you guys let me know what is your biggest struggle and what do you start with when it comes to rendering? Do you start with composition? Do you start with the visual settings? Let me check if everything works fine if I open it up in another file. Do you start with composition? Do you start with visual settings, or do you start with let me check, or do you start with materials, lighting, and all that other stuff? Obviously I know that without 3D modeling you cannot do any of that. However, when you already have the 3D modeling, what is usually your next step? So if I go over here, I have to sign in real quick. Let me check. Trimble always seems to lock me out for some reason. I go to next. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get this sorted right now. So the warehouse works now. I'm gonna close this file and I'm gonna keep this one open and we can continue with the progress of this here. All right. Composition into finding materials. Yes, that's great. I think that's usually what most people go for, and I think that's the most kind of logical way, to be honest. Windows, or maybe sliding window. Doing great work, man. Thank you, I appreciate it. So maybe I just download this, and then I'm just gonna make the frames kind of dark gray, I guess. Good, so I'm gonna copy, or I'm gonna move this here. And then I'm just gonna increase its size like this. And maybe I'm gonna move this a bit backwards. And now let me just choose this over here and let me just apply it to the frames. All right, good. Next up, let me go and move to the rest of the cabinetry. So this one must be 90 and these ones 60. So we have like 4 of them, which are 60. Let me move the marble for 3 centimeters. I'm gonna group the marble over here. And I'm also gonna group, well, this has to go with this. And I'm also gonna group the walls. Obviously, I know this is not the best management of the assets that we have here. However, I'm just trying to move as quick as possible. Anyway, let me go ahead and I'm gonna draw another surface right under the marble, which is gonna be 60 by 360. And let me check. So I'm gonna move this a bit downwards, and I'm gonna draw a rectangle which is gonna be 60 by 60. And then this has to have 1 centimeter in between the actual cabinets, and I'm just gonna copy this 4 times, well actually 3 more times I guess, so 3x, good. Okay, so we have it 4 times, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna need a line that comes in from over here all the way to the surface. Let me delete, well, I think I'm gonna delete this, 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 delete this, I'm gonna delete this. Okay, I think this should work fine. Usually with hello from Atlanta, nice to have you here as well. Usually the part which consumes most of my time in kitchen rendering is the part of modeling the cabinets. We're gonna have to have this running under here as well. So something like this, which goes all the way to the other side. And then 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we're probably gonna need to add another cabinet over here just to have the right scale. But I'm just gonna push this over here for another 30 because I think I'm gonna have the basin over there, and then we're gonna have 3 different. Okay, so these ones are horizontal. Okay, so if this is, let's say this is 76, one of them is gonna be 40, and then 2 of them are gonna be like 15. So I'm gonna grab the rectangle tool. I'm gonna do this around, so 60 by 40. Let me copy this up for 1 centimeter, and then not sure. Okay, good. So this 0.5, and then I'm gonna copy this for 0.5 down below. I'm gonna delete this one completely. And well, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go 1 centimeter from this side, and I'm gonna go vertically all the way up. I take most time with finding the right models, but I need them to be as close as possible to the ones chosen by my clients. Yeah, that is the usual one. But honestly, I think you can help save time with that if you communicate correctly with your clients. And what I mean by that is just maybe if you can communicate that that is a very time-consuming part, and it's not worth it to spend a lot of time finding. Wait, what? Okay, that is not worth the time trying to find the exact model. Maybe that might help you save time, but honestly, there's not too much you can do about that, because I can also understand the clients and why it is a priority for them to find as close as possible to what they have in the mood board or something like that. Push pull, because we also need a gap here. And then one final one on. Oh, so we already have a gap there. Well, maybe I can just push then the marble down, if that doesn't make too much of an issue, but we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna push this all the way in the back, and I'm gonna grab this part of the marble, and I'm gonna push pull it all the way down to the cabinets as well. So yeah, anyway, let's continue here. I'm gonna push pull this here, and I'm also gonna need to add a gap on this side vertically from here up to here. Yeah, I know that the modeling in SketchUp is not the cleanest right now, but it's getting the job done, and that's all I care about as now, to be honest. I think at the end of the day, most people care mostly about the rendering part. Understand the modeling part is also important, but yeah, I guess that's just not the focus of the content that we have here. Anyway, so I'm gonna move this forward all the way to the front of the cabinets, maybe even a bit or in front, something like this. I'm gonna save the file so we don't lose the progress. It's already saved. And then, yeah, I think we're gonna add this kitchen island here next up. We're gonna add the chairs. We're gonna need to add the lighting fixtures, the curtains, and then we can move on to the materials. So, how are we gonna do this? I'm just gonna leave 120 centimeters from over here. I'm gonna leave 120 centimeters from over here. And this can be, I guess, somewhere like this. And then let me also move this. I'm gonna take this off. Yeah, I don't think this is off scale, to be honest. Anyway, so I'm gonna move this upwards, same level as the cabinetry. I'm gonna use the inset, or I mean the offset. I'm gonna use the line tool like this. I'm gonna take this segment off, and then the depth, I guess that can be like 30 something. I know we're eyeballing a lot of the stuff here. Well, now the island looks way too big. Maybe I just group it and move it a bit closer, and then I pull this over here. Is it still too big? Let me see. Yeah, I think so. I think we need to move it even closer and make it smaller from this side. So I'm gonna push it over here. All right, and then we have more space if I need to pull it maybe later on. Anyway, I'm not sure why SketchUp is not letting me save the file. I'm gonna try to save it as once again. For anyone who's watching now, let me know in the chat where you guys are watching from. I'll be looking out at your answers. And also, if you have any questions during the process of my modeling and rendering, feel free to let me know in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my capabilities. Anyway, I'm gonna go once again to the Sketch Warehouse, and I'm gonna type in, what do I have to type in here? Let me try and find bar stools. I'm gonna try to find something as similar as this. So Lenadrill, you're gonna be watching me going through the same process that takes the most amount of time for you as well, which I think is gonna take some considerable amount of time for me too. I don't have to be super precise here though, so anything that can match will work for me. So I'm just gonna scroll a little bit more downwards and see where this takes me. I'm gonna load up some more models. Usually, if you're going through a Sketch Warehouse, right here in the models and products category, the models are actually better taken care of. And yeah. Maybe I choose something that I saw from the beginning here. I think I can choose this one. I'm not sure if there's no, I do not want to use this one. I thought it actually was, the whole thing was fabric, but it appears that it isn't. Let me try and find something more high quality. Maybe I can even go to collections. What do we have over here? So this one, I think I've used that one before. I think that's fine. This one can work fine as well. This I'm not sure of. Okay, I think I'm just gonna go with. Why is this taking so long to choose? Okay, I'm just gonna download this one. I don't care, and then maybe later on I can. Yeah, you have to model chairs yourself. Yeah, I know. I mean that sucks. If it helps anything, usually you can find some pretty cheap furniture modelers in Fiverr. Like they'll model a chair like this for um, $10, and I mean it works fine for them. So why not use that? Anyway, so I'm gonna move this a bit more onto this side, and I think this needs to be a little bit wider. That way there's a bit more space between the chairs. This should be fine. And now we're gonna need to take care of some of the ceiling. Let me save the progress once again. Okay, let me continue. So the file was saved there. Now I'm gonna try and find some light fixtures, which should be similar to these ones. So I'm gonna go to the sketch warehouse once again. I'm gonna type in pendant lighting. Lighting also takes a lot of time to find as well, to be honest. So, but these ones, we shouldn't have a lot of trouble with them. I mean, I can already see this one is pretty similar. I'm just trying to find something which could be even more closer to what we have there. Or maybe I shouldn't even waste on that. I'm just gonna grab this third one, and we can change the size and anything from it. So I'm gonna delete this, I'm gonna delete this. We're gonna need this one, so I'm gonna move it all the way over here. I'm gonna need to make this smaller as well. Do I feel like the ceiling is higher, or is it this just, yeah, I think these are just smaller. So I'm gonna move it over there, times 3. Or, oh, well, there's 3 in total, so not really. Okay, cool. Anyway, now I'm gonna try and find the curtains. First, I'm gonna need to open up this part over here. I'm gonna move this inside, and I'm gonna go to the sketch warehouse once again. I'm gonna find curtains, and then for accessories, I don't think that's gonna be a problem. I think I'm gonna leave them for like the last part. I'm not too worried about that. Curtains, I mean, any model can work fine, I guess. Let me just, I'm gonna grab these ones. Which PC specs do I use currently? I have 128 gigabytes of RAM, and then RTX at 2050. I mean, the graphics card is not anything crazy, but I mean, it works completely fine with Enscape. I never have any trouble with it, and I didn't need to upgrade it. Honestly, I probably should upgrade it just so I can move even faster, and it would probably help. However, up until now, I haven't had any trouble with it. I mean, it works just fine. It's fast enough. Enscape is already fast the way that it works. So these parts of the ceiling, I don't feel the need to replicate them. From what I see right now, I think it's time to open Enscape and work with the materials. We're gonna set up the materials, we're gonna set up the lighting, and on the final part, we're gonna add some accessories. Now I'm starting to kind of think about where we can find the exact marble, but let me save the file, and I'm gonna open Enscape in just a second. Okay, let's start Enscape up, and in the meantime, if you guys want to learn realistic rendering in just 14 days and just fast forward through a process of not dealing with all the technicalities yourself, I'm just gonna leave the link in the chat. You can go check that out, and I'll be ready to meet you inside the community. However, in the meantime, I'm gonna take the Enscape tab over here. But first off, before we move on to the materials, I want to set up the composition. So in order to set up the composition, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to output, I'm going to go to custom, and I think I'm going to use the viewport aspect ratio in this instance. Or maybe not even. I'm just going to use 1080 by 1350. And in order for this resolution to apply, we're going to need to hit the save frame tool here. And as you can see, now we have these black bars, which I do not like, to be honest. So I think I'm just going to keep it completely square. It's much easier to work like this, and it's also, I think, more enjoyable to watch for you guys. So anyway, now next thing that we're going to need to do, I'm going to try and check the camera angle here. One thing that I know for sure is that the field of view is a lot lower. Maybe not as low as this, but yeah. Anyway, let me go a bit backwards. Let me change the camera up a bit. The other thing that we also need to do is we're gonna need to use 2-point perspective, and I think something like this can work fine. Maybe I move this even a bit more down. Let me go ahead and save the camera as of now. Maybe later on we can do adjustments in the angle. So camera 1, custom preset, that's all that we need. Okay, now next up, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the visual settings once again. I'm going to turn off the sun brightness completely. I'm going to go ahead at the skybox, or I mean, maybe I just leave it, I just leave it white as of now. It's just much easier to manage, and there's not a lot of light bouncing of that. Now let me first apply the materials, and then we're going to take care of the lighting altogether. So first things first, let's check the tiles. First source that we're going to check is I'm going to go to the Enscape material library. If you find anything similar, that would be great. Would something like this work? I'm not sure, but I think this is worth a try. We're probably going to need to tone down the amount of beige or cream that this, oh no, this is just too harsh. This wouldn't work. Let me try something else. Let me go to the Enscape material library once again. Let me go to tiles. Let me scroll down. I'm trying to find something a bit more seamless, I guess, with not so much gaps in between. I'm going to import it. Let me apply it here. Maybe I can rotate this. Let me first go to the Enscape material editor. Let me try and apply a tint to this. So this, let me try and make it a bit more beige. I think it's just way too dark as it is, so I'm probably going to increase the lightness. I still don't think it's going to look as nice as the one on this side. Anyway, I think I have a file from another live stream where we had a similar marble, so I'm gonna try that once again. Let me see how that goes, if I can even find it. 1 second. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find that anyway, but let me just give it a search in some of my files here. No, I don't think so. Anyway, so in that case, I think we're gonna need to go to ambientcg.com. I'm gonna go to materials. I'm gonna go to tiles and marble. I'm gonna scroll down and see. Maybe I just search marble first. In the meantime, we can apply this dark gray material to the cabinet, so at least we have some progress going and get done with the stuff that is not going to take as much time as the others. So this part, well, this part as well, we forgot to group this, so now it's going to take a lot longer than it needs to take. Let me apply the material to all of these. Perfect. All right. On the inside here, on top here, and yeah. Let me go to the landscape material editor. Let me choose this and let me make this somewhere around 50. Just that way it is not so flat. We're gonna need to apply this. Let me just get done with this as of now. That way we don't go back to the same thing. We're gonna be able to see, we're gonna, like, the imperfections are gonna be a lot more visible once we also fix up the lighting, which should happen soon. What else do we have here? So this part, we're gonna get, I mean, we did a part of it, is probably gonna get tweaked later on. These need to be quite dark as well, so I'm gonna choose this. And then, yeah, these are gonna need to be a bit more reflective, and the roughness is gonna need to be a bit more lower than the cabinet, so maybe 40. I guess we can leave it like that as of now. What else will we need here? We're gonna add the accessories over there later on. We're gonna need the fabric. Let me try and make these black right now. I'll just choose this. Let me make it darker. Turn on the saturation. Let me apply this color. I'm gonna try to make these metallic. Hopefully it does not seem too wrong, because they are a bit too thick, which is not ideal, but honestly, I do not want to go through the library, try and find another set of stools. And then we're gonna need to find the fabric material. So I'm gonna go to fabrics. I think there's good fabric materials in the Enscape material library, so I'm gonna download this one. Let me go inside here. I'm gonna apply it here, and then yeah, I think this works fine. We're just gonna need to match the color. I think it's kind of like beige, yeah. So let me go to the color wheel. Let me put it here towards the, I mean, somewhere between the orange and the yellow. The saturation is going to need to be a lot lower. Let's just leave it like this for now. Yeah, using the metal to the name works great as well. It's just that then you also need to lower down the roughness. Or does, I think writing metal to the name also lowers down the roughness as well. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, I'm gonna apply this. Do we have divisions over here? Oh, so there's different levels. I'm not sure. Well, one thing that I can tell is, yeah, that is over there. We're gonna need the marble material. What else do we have at our disposal here? I'm gonna go to plaster. I'm gonna scroll down. Let me get plaster 05. I think I usually like to use this one. I'm gonna apply it to the ceiling. I'm gonna apply it to the wall over here, and all other parts that are visible. Well, this part, I'm actually just gonna draw a whole new surface and extrude it forwards, just because this is gonna need to have a different type of material. And then what else are we gonna need here? Yeah, I'm gonna apply it to this wall over there as well. Let me increase the actual brightness of it. And then in the meantime, yeah, we can fix the curtains as well. That will not take a lot of time. Let me delete this. Let me move this over here. Let me take this off. Let me move it on this side. Then I'm gonna go to the Enscape material editor. And what we need to do here in order to fix the curtains is I'm gonna make the transparency to cut out. I'm gonna go to desktop and I'm gonna apply a mesh. Something like this works fine. I'm gonna apply it as foliage. And we're gonna need to play around with the lighting in just a bit. Now, The only part of the materials that we're gonna need to spend a lot more time with is the marble. So is these parts and also the tiles over here. For the marble, I know for sure, I mean, also the round edges here play a big role as well. It's just that I don't want to go through all. Can you scroll in and, how can you scroll in and scroll out so fast? In SketchUp, I think it's just a feature with the mouse that I have. Like, it can like endlessly scroll. So if you can see the mouse right now, if I just do this, I don't have to keep scrolling. It just keeps scrolling for itself. See, and then if I go back with it like this, now you can see that it's moving fast. Hello, sir, I'm from Kerala. Where's Kerala? I've never heard of it. Anyway, let's go to ambient CG now, and let me try and find a marble that would match well here. So would something like this work? I think something like this could work on the countertops. And then for the tiles, we're gonna need to find something else. So let me just download this real quick. As this goes through, I'm gonna move it over here and the roughness. All right. Now we have, I think we have a good, hopefully marble material for the countertops. That is at least half of the job done with the rest of the materials that were left here. So I'm gonna import the marble material, and once it is imported, I'm actually gonna hit save on the SketchUp file because I don't wanna lose the progress that we made up until now. What is going on here? Oh, we need to click OK. Let me just save the file. Okay, so let me just click on this and let's see what this material has to offer for us. Why does it have a transparency mesh, or is it left from the curtain? Let me go to generic. Let me take this off. Okay. One thing about this marble material is, wait, do we have a roughness map on this? The roughness is very low, so I'm gonna import the roughness map on the marble. And I think this needs to be a lot larger. So if it's like 10 centimeters right now, this needs to be like 60 probably. This is a bit better, or maybe even, let's try 150. And maybe it needs to be a bit darker. I think so. Then we're gonna need to tweak the materials overall, but I just want to have a set basis of now, which would work fine. Yeah, I think this is pretty similar, and I don't want to waste a lot more time into it. So I think we're just gonna move on. We're gonna use this on the inside over here as well. And okay, then the final boss of the materials, I guess, is gonna be the flooring, but I think we're gonna figure that out as well. Let me apply this over here too. Cool. I need to figure out the tiles now, so I'm gonna go back on marble and let's see if we can find some good marble tiles, or maybe let's just type in tile. Not sure why it's not showing up. Maybe tiles. So the SEO needs to improve through ambient CG, I guess, but anyway. Nothing that useful here. Let me go back to marble. Nothing that useful here either. I think this one can work, honestly, if we do some tweaking. Yeah, I think this one can work if we increase the saturation, if we decrease the saturation actually. So I'm gonna import this in and let's see how that looks on the flooring. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section. In the meanwhile, I'm going to select this and I'm going to import the tiles that we just got in. I know this looks awful as of now, but just trust the process because I think we might be good here. So what we're going to need to do is this needs to be, first of all, white. This needs to increase. Oh, we're also going to need the displacement map for these, I think, because that's going to help us with the division lines. Let me take this off. I have so many tabs open in my computer right now, and it's just not letting me take care the right way of this. So I'm going to go to the height map and I'm going to import the displacement map here. This needs to be a displacement map. It's just way too large right now, so maybe 0.05. And then let's try and match the actual color. So this, first of all, needs to have a lot lower saturation. Let's go for 2. 2 is too low, so let's go for 4. I like your work. I'm new at flirting. Yeah, awesome, thank you. Let's go for 6. Now there's not enough saturation on this, so let's go for 8. This is a bit weird. It was 9 previously, right? Or did I get the number completely wrong? Maybe let's decrease the lightness of it. Okay, so now what I think we're gonna need to do, excuse me. So now what I think we're gonna need to do is I'm gonna do an image fade a bit, and I'm gonna do it over to something a bit like this. Are we getting closer? I think so. The whites are a bit too harsh, but maybe I can also increase the size of these. So let's do 200, I guess. And also, I think, oh no, I also think the roughness is a bit too much. So I'm gonna click it over here. I'm gonna decrease the brightness to like 85, or maybe, yeah, that is just way too much. Let's just do this like 50. Let's do this at like 30, 15. Let's leave it like this for now. Later on, we're gonna need to tweak it a bit more, but it's just a base. Decrease the saturation. Okay, let's move on. We have a base of the materials as of now. They're gonna need tweaking later on. However, I just feel like we can move on to lighting, and then after we are done with some lighting, it's gonna be easier to tweak some of the materials because they're still gonna change after we add some more artificial lighting. Now the thing is with artificial lighting, when we have curtains like these, is that sometimes there's gonna be weird shadows casted in if we use the artificial sun method, which is basically just adding spotlights from the outside. We're gonna try that out right now, and you're gonna see what I mean. So in those instances, then what we're gonna need to do is we're just gonna need to add a rectangular light on the inside. So I'm gonna duplicate this, or I'm gonna copy it 4 more times horizontally and 5 more times vertically. I'm gonna select one of these. I'm gonna increase the beam angle, and I'm gonna increase the luminous intensity. So as you can see here, this doesn't work that well, right? It would work well if we move the curtains out of the way. And we also, okay, so we also need to move these a bit higher and change the angle. But overall, I do not like how the I do not like how the actual beams are, how the shadows are casted. So let's just move it something like this. But yeah, so this, as you can see, would not work. One other thing that I'll do is I'll take off auto exposure. Let's turn on auto contrast, the saturation, let's turn it on. Do we need to close the wall? I mean, the model needs to be hermetic space. It all depends. I'm gonna close it off in this instance in just a minute. But we're just gonna wait a few more seconds for that because I'm taking care of some other stuff as well. Anyway, yeah, I like this part is gonna be closed off in just 1 second. So let me just do that right now while you reminded me of it. Okay, did we turn off the sun brightness completely? Yes. The color temperature needs to be a bit more like this. Now, as you can see, we can see the materials a bit more clearly. We still have a lot of work to do here. So I'm gonna go to our lights. I'm gonna try and make it work somehow like this, but I just think we're gonna also need to apply an HDRI. So I'm gonna go to Skybox. I'm gonna load in Skybox right here in my HDRI library that I have in my computer. I'm gonna use, let's try the midday HDRI. It's just a bit too warm and the lighting is not very well balanced. So I'm gonna take these away from the scene as of now. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna use the rectangular lighting. SketchUp is gonna crash. Why does it always do that? I'm not sure. I think it is Enscape's fault, to be honest. I think I saw some like complaints from the Enscape community in the forum that the lighting objects are making SketchUp crash, unfortunately. And I mean, it happens to me all the time during live streams as well, so it's just very annoying. Anyway, let me save this real quick because I need it saved for sure. Let me go to the rectangular light. Well, good thing is I actually kind of predicted this because it happens every single live stream and I've been saving the file consistently. I applied the light source right there. I'm gonna open Enscape. Hopefully some of these crashes are finally fixed with Enscape 4.0 coming out this spring. I think it's coming out this month, if I'm not mistaken. I think 20th of this month, that's gonna come out. Anyway. So let me go back to our view here. Let's turn on the save frame tool. Let's divide this on 2 parts. I'm gonna go over here, Skybox, load Skybox from file. Let me apply this midday HDR. This makes it a bit too warm. So maybe let's try the urban HDR. This works a bit better. Let me go ahead over here and let me increase the luminous power of our light source. I think something like this can work much better. So if I have this rectangular lighting here and I'm able to rotate it a bit and I can just move it a bit forward, I think this can work pretty good. Or maybe something else that I can try out is let me just save the file once again so it hopefully doesn't crash. And just to make sure that it doesn't crash on us, I'm gonna turn off auto update. I'm gonna add a spotlight in next year with the same direction that I had earlier, but I'm gonna move it inside. Let me turn on auto update and let me see what happens if I have some of these kind of going in the same direction as this. So let me increase the beam angle. Let me go a bit downwards. Let me go over here, 4x. X. Let me see if this helps in any kind of way. Does this need to move a bit more downwards? I think I'm gonna need to make these group, because the problem with the rectangular lighting is that it's a lot more directional than I would like it than what I would like. And I think when having these spotlights, these help into kind of having the lighting a bit more spread out and kind of bouncing more, I guess. It's not ideal. Let me just move these a bit more backwards because I do not like them as close as they are right now. But yeah, we can see how this works. We're gonna try out a few different things here. So 1 second, I'm just gonna check if everything's going smooth on the live. Okay, good. Hope they fix it next patch. Yeah, hopefully they do, man, because it's honestly a struggle. Anyway, I'm gonna go to the visual settings, auto exposure. Maybe I can turn it up a bit. The lighting still needs a lot more tweaking. The materials still need a lot more tweaking as well. These, I'm gonna need to make them darker. Something like that. And okay, so first things first, let me go over here. Let me make the image fade a bit lower. Not 10, let me go like 60. Let me do 65. Maybe the displacement should be lower as well. I think it's closer to what we have here now. I think we're gonna need some image fade on the countertop as well. Just because some of the, it's just a bit harsh in a way. Let me go for 65 for this as well. Yeah, I think this looks a bit more balanced, even though I think the reflection might be a bit too much. However, next thing that is gonna need fixing here. Oh, so this one is not, doesn't have the material applied. Yeah, and also these need a bigger gaps here. So something like this and something like this. Eyeballing it as always, typical of me. Anyway, these, I don't like these. I don't like this fabric material the way that it's looking right now. So I'm gonna select it. I'm gonna make the normal map a lot higher. And for some reason, I don't know why, but this seems like it has like a little bit of, I don't know, like pink on it, or it's just the beige is a lot lighter. So for that reason, I'm gonna go inside the material and I'm gonna decrease the saturation a bit, make it a bit lighter as well. The fabric material is not as harsh as I would like it to be. So let me try and increase this. Or maybe the lighting is just not coming that way. Let me go over here. Let me rotate this a bit. Yeah, I just don't think this fabric material is the right one. So I'm gonna need a fabric material displacement map. Fabric material displacement map. Let me try something online real quick. I'm gonna download this and see if this is gonna let us down. So I'm gonna go to the landscape material editor once again. I'm gonna choose the fabric material. I'm gonna take this off and I'm gonna try the fabric material that I just downloaded or I just saved. Oh, this is not working fine. Okay, I think now I can find it. Cool. I think this already is gonna work much better. You just have to trust me in this one, because I'm gonna increase the bump map. Maybe that is too much. Or, one second, do these not have the same material applied to them? Or, I think this is the way that they're like warped around. Hopefully it's not an issue with the actual modeling. Anyway, let me do progress in some other stuff. So next up, let me try to find some kitchen accessories. I know this was supposed to be the last part, but I just want to move on to some more progress. In the meantime, we're going to come back to the issues that we have with the lighting and with some of the materials. Kitchen accessories, these ones are going to work just fine. They're pretty similar to what we have here. So they're too big. However, I'm just going to use S for scale. I'm going to make it a lot smaller. I'm going to move it over here. Let's change the angle. Okay, so we have some of these. I think maybe this one we're going to need to make it larger just so it is a bit more visible and it's more clear what it actually is. And then some of these we can just, let me just select the bottle and all of the other stuff like this. Let me group it. I'm going to rotate it once again. Move it back. What else are we gonna need in terms of accessories? Let's add something over here, and then we're gonna need a furnace, which looks similar to this, and then a basin. Those shouldn't be an issue. I don't think so. Let me make this a group as well. Let's, oh, so all of these are separate. Okay, let's make a group. Let's take it on the countertop like this. Move it on this side, rotate it once again. Okay, now let's go and try and find a kitchen sink. Let's go to the SketchUp warehouse, kitchen sink. Black one, we're gonna need something like this. We download it, I apply it over here. I'm gonna rotate it real quick. Let's copy it. Let's go right here. Yeah, I'm gonna need to make it smaller and also move it vertically. Let's try and apply the same material on this. And this is this steel already? Let me try and go to the Enscape material editor. Is everything fine in the live stream? Can you guys see me? Because I think it was cut off or something. Anyway, all right. So the material on this is already set up. So it's fine, we're not gonna need to tweak that. What we're gonna need to do, maybe I just do a hole inside this real quick, even though it's not super visible from our angle. So let's go for something like this. Push pull it down. Got it. Okay. Why does this have to happen? Why is SketchUp so annoying with this? Or is it Enscape's fault? I'm not sure, but whoever it is, just please fix it. The recovered version, yes, please. Hopefully we didn't lose too much progress. Oh god. Anyway, let's do this quickly. Hopefully at least the materials are there, because I cannot be bothered to go through the materials once again through all the image fading and all that, but I guess we're still gonna need to finish this in the live stream, so I mean no one cares if I want to do it or not. So yeah. Whatever. Come on. I think I think the materials are saved, so that's at least out of the way. Let me go over here. Let me take this off. So I mean, what's left here is the accessories. Good. Let me first save this file. We're gonna need this saved. Good. And then let me go to the SketchUp warehouse once again. Let me first find the kitchen sink. I like the one that we had earlier, so we're gonna use the same one. I'm gonna load this directly to our model here. Let's rotate it as well. Let me make it smaller and okay, good. Use the S key. Move this downwards. I think this is gonna be fine. Let's use a rectangular drawing tool from this side all the way over here. Then we're gonna pull this through downwards. Then I'm gonna need to apply the same material on this and on this as well. That is good. Finally, let me save this as well. Damn, okay. We didn't lose too much progress, I think. Then we also have a stove. I'm gonna go to the SketchUp warehouse once again. I'm gonna write a stove. By the way, if you just joined in, please let me know in the chat where you guys are watching from. As always, I'm interested to hear more about obviously the demographic of the audience. Anyway, I'm gonna paste this here. I'm gonna rotate it, keep it right there, or does it need to be closer? I'm not sure. I think this is fine. Maybe it needs to be closer to the sink. Good. Is this steel or is it? Let me try and see if that actually made a change in the modification of the material. Yes. Good. Finally. So what we're gonna do is now, let me save the file first. Then I'm gonna take a final look in some of the lighting, like the line light here, some of the light line in the curtain. We're gonna modify the brightness of the artificial lights that we have put in here, and then we're gonna need to take another look, like another final look at the materials, especially the fabric on the chairs, or we might just switch the whole chairs around, who knows. Anyway, let's go to the SketchUp warehouse once again. Please provide perfect video of all main extensions. Please, Mellows. What do you mean main extensions? Of SketchUp? I don't use any extensions, to be honest. I mean, not too many. Anyway, yeah, kitchen accessories. Let's go. Should I switch these around this time? Maybe I just use these. Hopefully these are at scale at least. Good. Well, it doesn't seem like they are anyway. We will make something of it. Let's go to the Enscape material editor. Let's choose this at 60. These need to be moved downwards. Okay. All of these over on this side. These two over here, I guess. Let me rotate it like this. Let me move it backwards. Then I'm just gonna try and find. Well, I do not use too much SketchUp extensions, to be honest. So I don't think that would be a video that I would make. I'm just being fully transparent here. Anyway, let me scroll down. Let me just use this one, a deep pan. That's what Enscape named it, and that's what I'm gonna call it. Some of the search engines on the library of Enscape, I think they can be better. This looks fine. I'm gonna need to move this a bit more inside. Only this one. Those were fine over there. Anyway, let me try and find maybe an indoor plant to add it over there. Then maybe one over there as well. That's gonna add some more life into this dead render. Absolutely dead. This, I don't like it. I think there's some plants that could work maybe in the accessories tab, not in the vegetation tab. Let me scroll down. There's just so much stuff in here. Okay, good. So for example, this one, we can put it right here. And then I'm gonna use another one right on this side. Yeah, this makes the render a bit more alive. Or is there maybe a better plant that I can use? Maybe this one too. Let's take this off. Let's decrease the size of this. Good. What other... Okay, so if I go once again to accessories, let's go to kitchen accessories. Maybe these ones are something similar to what we have. Let's increase the size of them. Or is it just a bit too crowded now? And yeah, I guess some toppings or olive or whatever that is. Yeah, I'm not going to add that in. However, the render looks a bit more balanced right now. There's still some things that I'm going to take care of. First off, let me save this once again. Then I'm going to turn off the auto update feature just because we're going to need to add some lighting. And usually when I add lighting, that's when SketchUp crashes. Just like this, as I told you so. Now we're going to need to open the SketchUp file once again because Enscape cannot fix any other bugs. Instead, they add features which no one asks for in the new updates. One of them being the energy efficiency tool. Nice. How many of you guys actually asked for an energy efficiency tools within Enscape? Because I personally do not know a single person that asked for it. But they're adding it in because chaos defines visualization. Defining wow. How many of you saw that chaos unboxing event a couple weeks ago? Let me move this over here. So it's going to need to be bigger on this side. Let's move over here. Let me choose this light source. And I'm going to do 30x. Is it going to cover the whole thing? Yes. It's actually a bit too much now. I'm going to need to take these off. Good. All right, we added that one. Let me save the file once again, and I'm going to launch Enscape. We're going to go back to our render, which is taking a bit longer than I expected, to be honest. But the reason behind it is just we have too many crashes and too many experimentations with the materials. I think before we are done with anything else, we're going to probably need to switch these tools because I am not happy with the tools. In the meantime, if you guys want to fast forward your realistic rendering journey, I would say check the link in the chat right now. You can go through the 14-day realistic rendering program. Anyway, let me go back to camera one. Let me split the screen once again. That is edit in. I don't think we need to tweak out. Maybe, yeah, maybe just make the intensity a bit harsher, just a tiny bit, not too much. And then what else would we need here? Yeah, maybe we just add, maybe we just copy these light sources into, let me just make it a group under the actual curtain. So let me just rotate it. Maybe I would like to use a forest HDRI here. I don't know why, it's just that the inside is a bit too cold, and maybe having some nature outside would help the actual render. Anyway, what's up with these cabinets? Do I need to make this a bit darker and decrease the roughness? Because I think the render needs that a bit. Good. Is this fine? Do we need to push these inside a bit more? I think so. Let's do this for another 4 centimeters. On this one as well, 4 centimeters. Is it too harsh? Yeah. Let me go back for another 2 centimeters. Let me double click on this. Good. Okay. I think overall we're getting closer. There are a few things that I would like to take care of first. Bro, your tutorial is really helpful. Thanks a lot. Well, I appreciate it, and I'm glad you find it helpful. I'm gonna go to the Polyhaven website and try to find a good HDRI with nature outside, so maybe a forest or something like that. This one, yeah. Let me try this out. This is a new one. Hopefully this works fine. It came out a week ago and I haven't seen it yet. I haven't used it yet. We're gonna try a new HDRI live here. So I downloaded it. Let me import it. Let's see how this one looks. Maybe I increase the brightness of it a bit. Let me rotate it, I guess. Can't really tell, can you? 1 second. Well, one thing that I noticed right now is that the curtains aren't fully open in the image here, and I think that's very helpful. So why do we not just keep them just like they are in the example? That would make our life a lot easier, I think. What do you guys think? It wouldn't make it super easy, but just a little bit easier, right? And then what that would help us with as well is moving these outside. Then I can move the light sources over here as well, and I can increase the intensity of these. This doesn't look super bad. This looks a bit better. No? What do you think? Maybe I'll move this over a bit, just more. Anyway, the brightness of HDRI definitely needs to be increased. Is this helping anything? No. What is that white part on the windows? Oh, it's reflecting the actual island. Okay. Let me rotate this a bit. Let me increase its brightness. Yep. I think this brightness works much better. I think something like this can work. I'm gonna switch these chairs out just because the fabric looks very fake. These need more reflections, the cabinets. They look better now, I guess. But anyway, let me try to find some better kitchen stools or bar stool. I mean, let's try kitchen stool. Does it bring better results? Or just, let me try stool. Bar stool. Scroll down, we already saw those. Not useful. They weren't useful at all. Let me scroll down a tiny bit more. We're gonna load more. We're gonna keep on scrolling until we see something that would fit our scene. Where exactly is that model? I'm not sure, but I wanna give it another try. Let's load more. I'm not sure why the models and product tab has been moved. I wanted the products to be separate. There probably can be filtered out, however, I just actually noticed this. Let's scroll down, continue trying to find a good stool. What about this? I don't think it's well modeled. The legs of it look fine, but the actual seating doesn't look that well. So where's the chair that we're looking for? Let me scroll up. Let's go to collections. Bar stools. What about trying these out? Let me try these out. These seem to be locked. However, I think we can apply a texture onto these. Okay. Let me try and take these out. Move backwards. These move in. This needs to be metal. Good. This is much better except for these parts. So these are locked or glued. What's the issue with these? This can be fixed, but these unlock. Okay, now they're fixable as well. Come on. I think at the end of the day, these are gonna look better than what we had previously. So yeah, they're not super emphasized. The chairs are actually metallic, unlike the other ones that were supposed to be wood. They are a bit wider, but I think they're also a bit higher than they should be. So I'm gonna decrease the scale of them altogether. Maybe just a bit bigger, something like this. And now I'm just gonna move the seat arrangement a bit, and I'm gonna also randomize them. And I think what is gonna be left for us here is probably only, let me randomize them a bit in terms of rotation. I think what is gonna be left for us here, I was saying, is probably only the visual settings. Honestly, I like overall how the whole render came out. We are in live stream, and I usually like to keep them under an hour. We already went longer than an hour. I think we're at an hour and a half mark until now. I know there's a lot of stuff that can probably be done better. However, comparing to the amount of time we had, I think this came out looking pretty good. I'm gonna have one final look just to check if we actually missed anything in terms of the whole modeling and also the materials. Yeah, the chairs, maybe those are a bit more questionable, but I think they're still fine. Maybe the flooring needs to be a little bit more gray, but I don't think I'm gonna mess around with it too much. Maybe the color of this can be a bit more towards gray. Yeah, I think we can just leave it like this. Anyway, one final check. Overall, I think it looks okay. I'm gonna go to the visual settings. I'm gonna try to increase the brightness of the HDRI once again. The auto exposure, this is fine. The rendering quality, we're gonna use ultra. The auto contrast, maybe I turn the shadows off a bit. Uh, Maybe leave like that. Color temperature, I definitely want it a bit colder because it was looking way too warm earlier. Motion blur, all of these things, I'm gonna turn them off. I usually don't use them. Maybe the vignette a bit just to make it a bit more dramatic. Then the atmosphere, do we need fog? No, not really. Night sky brightness, shadow sharpness. Do we need to increase it? We can barely tell the difference here because we're using fake lighting. Ambient brightness, we're gonna increase it. And then the sky, that's fine. What about the sun brightness? Do we need to increase the sun brightness a bit? I don't think so. Cold temperature, maybe I just move it a bit over on this side. And yeah, nice to see you as well, Saiful. What else would we need here? Let's try a different rotation for a second. That looks a bit too fake. This looks a bit better. Maybe I can try and add a plant over here. So let me just scroll. I think the indoor plants are here at the end. So maybe I can try and add a plant like this one on this side. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Not the biggest difference, but however, I think it still looks nice. Let me try increasing the saturation a bit. 105, we'll just leave it like that. And yeah, overall, oh, maybe some depth of field can help with the composition as well. Overall, I think it looks fine. Yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think in the comments? What do you think of the render? I honestly think it looks good for the amount of time that we had here. And yeah, I'm happy with the results. Let me try. Oh, also, I think, didn't we? I think it wasn't saved previously. We closed this off previously, but yeah, I think this can play a role with light bouncing and some of the other stuff as well. So I'm gonna close it off from all corners because we do not need to have openings on these sides. Not sure if it plays a huge part with our render here, but at least why not do it anyway. Let's go to render. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much how it's gonna look, to be honest. It's pretty much the same as the preview does this thing with Enscape. Luminance in the ceiling light on these ones, yeah, we can probably turn that on, to be honest. Yeah, that's a good call. The HDRI brightness now looks a bit too harsh, so let's just keep it like that. Also, I'm going to increase the brightness on these lights as well. But wait, the thing is, SketchUp is probably going to crash if I add lights on these, so I really do not want that to happen right now. There's a burn on these curtains in terms of lighting, which I don't think we need, but maybe let me try and move this over here a bit. Maybe I try to move it a bit backwards. Let's turn auto exposure. Let's go to 50, and then I'm probably gonna turn off the foliage material on the curtains, just because it doesn't look that real. I'll just rather have it self-illuminated and look something along like this. Okay, so I'm gonna render this. If there's anything you guys can point out that you think can look better in this render, let me know. Let me do this render 1. I can probably test out some HDRI, some other HDRIs as well. This is just a new one. It's the first time that I'm using it. I think the render needs more shadows, to be honest. I'm not sure why there's not enough shadows here. Maybe the lighting needs to be harsher. Is it all the way to the maximum? Not really. Or maybe if you go to the visual settings, maybe we need to increase the shadow sharpness. Or is it the ambient brightness? We had some shadows previously, right? And we only have one light source, so not sure why those would be taken away. But yeah, anyway, let's check the render that we have here. It's a bit too bright, to be honest, and I do not like the HDRI. Yeah, let me go to auto exposure. Let me decrease this a bit, and let me also change the HDRI. Turn off the sun brightness. Yeah, even though it's not super realistic because it doesn't have anything like visible from that side, I still think it looks better than the previous HDRI. One thing we also have to take note of is that I definitely think we need some harsher lighting in terms of the shadows are just way too soft right now. So if I go over here, I'm gonna try and increase the beam angle all the way to the maximum. Darker is better. What do you mean by darker? Like the whole render being darker or anything in particular? Let me try and add a rectangular light here. Let me save this because I honestly think the only component missing here, like the main one, to make this better is the lighting. And I just think we need more shadows visible. I think something changed that kind of broke the good way that the actual shadows were being casted in this render. And I'm not sure if it was the new light bounces and new walls that we created too close off or but yeah, anyway, let me move it like this. Let me increase the luminous power. It's not visible at all for some reason. Let me just move all of these away. Why is this not visible? See, something's messed up here, and I think there's something going on, right? Let me I'm gonna change the HDRI once again. I do not want the pure sky HDRI. Maybe let's do the urban HDRI once again. Right position, solid surface has the shadow, but the chairs don't. Yeah, I know there's all kinds of messes here with the software that I'm using with some of the stuff. However, I still like it over the other options. It's just the way that it is. Anyway, I'm gonna try and go back to these. See, this does not work. This will not work for me, unfortunately. So I'm gonna keep it off. Let's go back. Is our option here to turn off landscape and try to turn it on once again? Because honestly, there's something weird going on here, right? Do you guys feel that the shadows got messed up a bit? Because they were fine previously. So if I just turn this off completely, what about if I get this back to normal? The artificial light brightness is fine. If I go, wait, if there's some imbalance here with the lights. So if I go back here and if I turn off the intensity on these spotlights, let me keep it like this. And then if I turn off the intensity, maybe just turn off auto exposure for a second. And if I turn off the intensity on these, still not enough shadows. Let me turn Enscape off. Let me save this once again, and I'm going to turn it on once again because, yeah, I think they are reflected. Yeah, I think something changed once we added these walls for some reason. Right? Do you guys feel that happened when we added the walls as well? I'm going to take off the walls now and let's see if that makes a difference. Because I honestly think it had something to do with them. I'm going to even go back to the live stream, back to when we didn't have the walls. Yes, so see, we had shadows. Shadows were perfectly fine here. Even over here, then this is where I think they were kind of messed up, but it's still better than what it was previously. Yes, after I closed the walls, the shadows were gone. Exactly. Let me try it this time. Let me go back to the camera. Let me take this off. Did anyone else notice that? That's some weird bug with Enscape, right? The reflections are not correct. If you guys noticed that when I added the walls in, let me know, because honestly, that was super, like, I noticed the quality of the image changed drastically for a second, and I thought I was just kind of, I don't know, tripping. This is tricky, but I like it while you exploring. Yeah, you know, I'm never worried about, like, obviously I'm taking the risk with going to live stream and things can go wrong, just like in any other workflow. But I mean, you guys have to be um, like, I want to show the real process behind rendering because it's not as always smooth and easy, and there's stuff like this happening all the time, especially with software that um, are not always super consistent. Like sometimes there's better quality and sometimes there's worse quality, and sometimes it is easier to set up lighting and sometimes it is harder to set up lighting. But I want to make sure that I'm showing the real truth to you because, yeah, as you can see now, the shadows are back. But I really want to know if it was just an Enscape bug or it was from the actual wall being closed off. Did you guys notice that? Like, did you just notice what happened with the shadows here? This is weird. Okay. Let me go back without a wall. See, there's weird stuff happening here all over the place. Anyway, I want to move out of this render just because I think that the more I'm gonna play around with this, the weirder things are gonna get. It's stuff like this that Enscape needs to fix. Honestly, it's stuff like this that Enscape needs to fix ASAP. Yes, it's definitely weirder when I close the wall. Thank you for noticing. Um, I thought I was the only one that was thinking that, and I didn't want to sound like I was blaming the software, but it's clearly the case in this. Not to say that there's probably stuff that I can do better as well, but that was also a bit tricky. Should you add the wall in the back? No, I'm not going to add it just because, I mean, it's just decreasing the quality overall. Let me go back to the visual settings. Auto exposure is not even playing a huge part right now. Let me keep it like this. Auto auto contrast. We're gonna keep it that way. Let's go for this. Yeah. Tricky one. Anyway, but you know what? I'm happy that I get to show the true, like, the true process of rendering and how things can go wrong. And yeah. And as you know, not every render goes perfectly smooth. I like, if you go through my whole live stream library, you can see that there's times where I create renders, like the whole workflow of the render is super easy and it goes smoothly and everything goes fine. I guess you can learn from those renders as well, but honestly, I think these kind of live streams are also important. So if you can see in the first one, it's very bright and there's no shadows. The second one is a bit more balanced. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect in any way, but yeah, you can see the difference. It's almost like there was light coming from the back wall, which was very weird, and I didn't like it. But even here, the shadows are getting interrupted. Can you guys notice this? Let me know in the chat. Like, even here, the shadows are getting interrupted. Like, that is not ideal. I want to give it another try. What if I take off the artificial lighting? Let me just take this off completely. It's gonna be darker for a second. Let me try. What if I add, let's say 7% some brightness, and it's just very warm. Yeah, I mean, maybe I can give another try to add the rectangular lighting in the front. What do you think about the future landscape? You know what? Realistically speaking, I think the fact, like, people just want things to be done faster and easier. And I think Enscape is the perfect solution to that desire of the market. It's super fast, it's easy, you get a fast result. And for that reason, I think the future is good. Do I think that the vision of Enscape changing into also being a visualizer for energy efficiency and just being mixed up with other kind of products is helpful? I wouldn't say so. But yeah, anyway, that's just my opinion. This slide doesn't have enough power, but very weird, very weird. The Enscape engine has been acting very, very weird today, and I'm not sure exactly why. I'm gonna try and move these back once again. There's more shadows right now. Are we gonna lose them? I'm not sure. Maybe the rotation of the HDRI is also playing a part in this. I think it is looking a bit better this way as well. Honestly, I have it a lot with thin materials and shadows like those chairs. It's frustrating, but at least this is very helpful. This process, yeah, I think this process is very helpful. Even though we have the struggles in the render, I think it's still helpful. You still get to learn through the process a lot of stuff here, and yeah, I'm just testing some more things out. Let's see how this affected the render. What if we go and try to do some automatic adjustments here? This is definitely the better one with the shadows, to be honest. We have some weird shadows being cut off here with the chairs, but this is the better one. Let me try another HDRI. Like, this is the final one, and I'm gonna be done with this. It's just that I just want to test some of these things out because honestly, sometimes Enscape is very unpredictable. Let me go over here, HDRI. Which one should I try? Let me try this one out. Hello, nice to have you here. Getting better? Yeah, it's getting a bit better. I just wish these were a bit high resolution, but as you can see, the image is 2K, so maybe if things are a bit more in the back, the low fidelity will be less visible. Huh. What if, well, you know what? I think what I can do now is maybe just add some, maybe increase the curtains a bit because it's not a foliage anymore. I'm not sure how it's gonna act now with the light. Let me test it out. I think it's gonna be fine. So if I just increase this a bit and then I copy it over here and maybe something like this. What if I um, I'm just testing things out, to be honest. Hi Mel. I hope Enscape adds AI as a tool, but the introduction of chaos took away that hope. Yes, that introduction, the chaos unboxing, took away everyone's hopes. To be honest, I think they're trying to compensate with what they did in that what they did in that event soon. They're probably gonna come out with a new event, but whatever. Let's see how that whole thing goes. I'm not sure anymore, to be honest. In their event organizing capabilities, but yeah. Anyway, um, let's go back to our custom preset here, and I'm gonna play around with this one because I just think this one is just worth exploring more rather than the last HDRI. This one, I think I'm gonna leave this as the final render. I'm gonna take a final render here for the live stream. I'm gonna do an auto adjustment tweak, and then I'm gonna show you the final results, and you guys let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of, can you make these curtains more transparent? I haven't managed that the right way and still look realistic. You mean having more, like, being even more transparent? Because one of the ways that I can think of is if you go to the Enscape material library and choose curtains, one of the ways is just to increase the texture transformation, and then you can have bigger gaps, I guess, but maybe even bigger. So I mean, this doesn't look super realistic, but I mean, you get my idea. Maybe even making them foliage. Some people suggest that. I find it a bit frustrating with the lighting when you make it as foliage. However, this is the render that we have here. I do not like the now I do not like the rectangular composition, so maybe I make it 1080 by 1350. This will look better for sure. 4 by 5. What do you guys think of the render? Let me know. We went through this here in the live stream. Well, not this one. I'm not happy with that one. I was saying, yeah. What do you think of this render? I think the lighting kind of messed this up a bit. Yeah, I wish the shadows were a bit harsher, and we found out what the deal behind all of that was. A bit unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is. Maybe even the angle of the camera could have been a bit higher. Maybe if we make some adjustments into increasing the shadows, that would help us make the image better. Maybe decreasing the highlights a bit. Let me see. Yeah, I'm trying to fix things up. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully you enjoyed the process. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'm gonna be looking at the comments on what your thoughts on this render are. And in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, I'm gonna stay around for a few more seconds. And if you also want to take a big step into learning realistic rendering as a skill, I would highly advise you check the 14-day realistic rendering course. I will leave the link of it in the chat here. I'm gonna paste it multiple times just to make sure that you guys do not miss it. Check that out. I'm gonna be waiting for you inside the community to anyone who joins. And I will see you in the next live stream. I'm doing these weekly. I've been super consistent this year with live streams. So yeah, I like it when the curtains are closest though, but curtains are difficult to make them look real. I haven't found tutorials of them either of Enscape. I mean, that is the only way to make curtains more realistic, is just by adding the mesh map. Do you know a trick to add wet floors? Yeah, you just add a roughness texture. So let me just actually showcase it to you right now. Wet floor. Wet floor roughness map is what I'm searching for on Google. There's probably better ones than the one that I'm gonna find right now, but this is just to showcase it to you real quick. So if you go over here at the actual material editor and you choose the floor, if you go to the reflections, the reflection section, and you choose the wet floor, we can increase the specular part of it, but it also depends on the lighting as well. So yeah, I mean, if I get closer, you can probably tell that it looks like a bit, there's some marks there. I can make it bigger as well. So let's say 8 by 8. Maybe this is a bit too big, but yeah, anyway, when the lighting is right, you can use a map like this in the roughness section. That's my point, and hopefully that helps answering your questions. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and also turn